All right. Looks like we have audio. Go ahead and give me a test knock so I can make sure I've got your levels up.
Testing, testing,
All right. That
testing,
that should be
testing.
good. Yeah, everybody can. Hi, Vancouver. Glad to have you. Doing a solo session tonight. So excited. So, everybody, welcome to the stream. A lot of you were here just a few minutes ago. I took a quick break to set up for Vampire. If you're new here, I'm Pixie Phoenix. I play a variety of games here on Twitch, usually MMOs, but I am down for the count with an injury, so it's going to be a lot of point and click games. Maybe some more solo sessions if Nox has the time.
I'm totally down.
Yeah, so, and Zack will be included too. Unfortunately, Zack had to work tonight, so Vic couldn't join us, but. Yeah, so thanks everybody for sticking around. I really, really appreciate it. First time chat, the Stoats Abides. I like that name. That's pretty freaking awesome. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thanks for joining us. We've got the birthday stream continuing. I've been on since 11 a.m., guys. Um, John says we'll be lurking for a bit due to kids being up and hanging all over. Happy birthday again. Thanks, John. They haven't given you a rest yet? Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. He's visiting family and all the kids are just, Uncle John, Uncle John. Yeah, I know that feeling. So, Knox, what has been going on with you, sir?
Oh God. Well, of course, first of all, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
The so we, as everybody I'm sure knows, or maybe they don't, with our main campaign or chronicle on hold for the remainder of December,
Mm-hmm.
the I have had far too much time on my hands, and I am now in the process, as we discussed recently, of developing my own game system, and so that's taking up time, plus all of Christmas, the holidays, and whatnot, and of course, spending some time putting some a little something together for you tonight.
Yay. And I wanted to let you know, and for anybody that's on my Discord, I did start what I call like I just put in D&D for the moment, but I'm gonna go in and change it to just TTRPG chat. And if you guys ever have questions for Knox, he's on my server, so feel free. He's always been there to answer questions for me, for the rest of the group. Um, yeah, so feel free to pick his brain. Um, yeah,
And we're
anything else?
I was gonna say, and we're gonna need, I know we've talked about it. It seems like we've talked about it for most of the last year, but I really am committed to doing a whole bunch of new systems this coming year. So we're going to need players. We're going to need people to do play testing for what I'm putting together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so so yeah, if you're interested, let let Pix know. If you're on the Discord channel, shoot me a message. I'm on there. Um, so we've got there's a lot of good things coming. 2022 is definitely going to be a an interesting year. So,
Yeah, I mean, we keep having waves like this, and everybody gonna be back home again. They're gonna want to get into some gaming.
oh dear Lord. With that horrifying thought in mind, let's get started. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome. Welcome everybody to our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition Chronicle, Philly by Night. Tonight is a special solo session for our birthday girl Al. Now, for those of you who are keeping up with the normal Chronicle, tonight might be a little disjointed because the events of tonight take place after session 42, which would be the third night of events. So this actually takes place a little in the future.
Huge jump.
However, of course, not giving anything away. Nothing will be referenced.
Right.
So, tonight, it is, of course, the holidays. Everyone is now with the new pandemic, the new old pandemic, as it were. Nobody's out. The people who are out are masked up, leaving early, coming early. You are at your bar, and it is dead. Not the pleasant talking dead that
Right.
so often frequents the establishment. It is dead, dead. Laying across the bar from you is wiping down her bar for the third, maybe the fourth time.
You're gonna rub the polish off of that.
The other members of your coterie have decided to take the night to go do their own things. Ruby is at the end of the bar serving as queen bee of her own little court of now 4 or 5 duskborn who are seem to constantly be there, constantly in her vicinity now when she's working. It is not a terrible situation for her, as they are also continuously shoving money into the till. But it does make nights like tonight feel perhaps a tad lonely. As you are waiting there at the bar, what do you do? How are you starting your evening? What would you do while you are filling the very, very long distance and time between paying customers?
Well, in a group setting, I would just kind of default to Michael and be like, "What do you need?" But I mean, if there's not much in the way of cleaning, might text. Do I still have Marla's number? Does she have an active phone?
She has a phone now. Moira has hooked her up with a phone, so you do in fact have active texting ability for her. Um, it's a slight point of contention still with Ruby that
Yeah.
your ex is now living basically across the hall.
You know what? Actually, yeah, if it's slow, I mean, this might be the opportunity to hash this out with Ruby and just, I'm not, I have too much shit in my own head. I don't need extracurricular drama. So, yeah, I'll sidle up to her bar. Um, just open up casually, What you doing? How you keeping busy?
So when you sidle up to Ruby at the end of the bar, there are 4 or 5 thin bloods who are all in front of the bar, who are all talking. Everybody is festive. Uh, Slade is there. Slade is
Of course.
dressed as Santa Claus. If Santa Claus was a member, was Mr. T. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is, and so it is a red latex Santa costume,
Oh my lord. The chafing. The chafing.
and he has actually put a like those fake pregnant bellies that they like make
Mm-hmm.
girls walk around with. He's shoved that up underneath of the latex, so it's all distended and whatnot, with the feather ruffs around the collar and everything like that. And then of course there's all of the gold chains and the giant hat. It's a sight. It's a sight.
Whew.
Um, Teddy is there, um, dressed in his typical goth attire. His own only lean for the holiday, a black Santa cap. Um, the woman who looks like the librarian, who you don't think anybody's ever asked her name, uh, is standing there in the background. Uh, you think you see maybe the hint of a smile. Maybe it's the beginning of a smile. Uh, could just be cracks in the concrete. You're not really sure. Um, and then there are a couple other dustboard that you haven't seen. You've seen them before, but you don't know them by name.
Okay.
Everybody's laughing, telling jokes. Some of them are drinking. Some of them are making a big show of holding drinks while they are mysteriously liquid net levels never going down. So when you sidle up to the group, Ruby gives you a big smile, but you can, and Slade obviously is quick to shoot you double guns and smile at you. But you noticeably can tell that the group is kind of eyeing you. They're not really sure what you're doing there.
They're not familiar with me just from working here?
No, they're not so much that they're familiar with you. They know you work there, but
Okay.
there's definitely kind of a cliquishness thing going on there.
Okay. Mean girls. Um, I guess I'd offer those that can drink around.
So
Try to get them to warm up a little bit.
so when you how would you do this? Would you just kind of walk up nonchalantly and be like, shots, or would you like how would you attempt to do this?
Yeah, I think I'd kind of walk up beside Ruby, kind of slip an arm around to give the, impression, hello, we're close. And then ask her, would you like to introduce me to your friends? Maybe get some drinks?
As Ruby starts to talk, you hear a from down the bar.
I hear what?
When you look up, you see a familiar face that you've seen, hasn't been recently. It's Alyssa, the Bruja from the party.
Okay. I think I'm remembering. This is from when we went to New York?
No,
Oh, wait.
Alyssa was from the last major get together. Um, Let me head back. I think we're looking at, was it the night of the reopening?
Oh, boy. Yeah, that would have been a while for me.
It has indeed been a bit.
I'm gonna change braces.
Aye. Session 32
Oh
would have
yeah.
been the grand reopening.
Can you give me a physical description?
Alyssa, tonight she is dressed in some torn jeans, combat boots. She's wearing a dark red leather jacket with an old punk t-shirt that's been cut to show off more than its fair share of midriff, and a chiseled six-pack to go along with it. Um, she has kind of, you think maybe chin length hair, maybe slightly shorter, maybe an undercut, but it's difficult to tell because she's wearing a beanie over top. Uh, and all you can really see is some strands of black hair that are peeking out.
And can you give me, I know it's a little meta, but can you give me where our relationship is, like me and her? Are we on good standing? Because like I said, it's been a hot minute since I've read that far back.
Well, the last time that you guys met, uh, Lane was texting you the night that she showed up at the beacon reopening to tell you that there is an aggressive girl who's, quote, your type. Uh, and that was the point when some
Okie
guy was trying to
dokie.
get fresh with her, and
Yeah, this is
she
coming
proceeded
back.
she proceeded to put him down uh, fairly harshly,
And
to
then
say
we
the least.
booted her out, right?
No, you did not boot her
No?
out. In fact, Idaho was kind of being like, "Hey, you know, maybe we should try to, kick her out." Vic, on the other hand, was like, "No, she was defending herself. That's totally within her
Oh,
rights."
yeah. Okay. All right, so back to the now. I'm standing there beside Ruby and she walks in.
She is at the so Ruby and her group of friends, where you are now, are kind of on her end of the bar.
Right.
Alyssa has now walked up and is at your end of the bar, and it looks like Alyssa's got some friends with her.
Okay. Um, I I say to Ruby, "Hey, it looks like we've got some stragglers. Do you want to come over and help me serve these guys real quick?"
Ruby kind of looks at her friends and she goes, "I mean, now just when I mean, there's only like two of them. Like, give them their drinks and then come back."
Okay. Yeah, I'll wander down there. I'm trying to give her the opportunity. She wants to be all like up my business and wants to know what's going on. If people are gonna hit on me, I'm like, hey.
So, when you head down do you head down?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, when you head down, the other three that are behind Alyssa, they're kind of they're not really at the bar. They're kind of talking amongst themselves. They're kind of behind, like a couple steps behind Alyssa. Um, Alyssa leans on the bar and shoots you a big toothy grin, and she's like, "Hey there."
Hello, what can I get for you guys?
She said, "Well, it's not so much what you can get for us." She's like, "We were hanging out upstairs with uh, the girl upstairs. And
Am I supposed to know who she's referring to?
that would be the contractor that is Robin, who
Oh,
is
yeah,
working
yeah,
the
yeah.
upstairs bar.
Okay.
Um, Alyssa is like, she's like, this place is dead. Like, this is dead, dead.
It happens in the business sometimes.
She says, so, she says, last time you and I talked, she said, you and I seem to have some common outlooks on things. I said, I thought maybe you'd like to come along and get out of here and have some fun.
And would this be purely platonic fun, or there's some ulterior motives I should be aware of?
She kind of shrugs and is like, she's like, whatever happens, happens.
Uh, and
At
how
this
would
point,
you? Okay, go ahead.
at this point, the other three kind of sidle up around Alyssa and lean on the bar. The first one's a guy. He's wearing a suit. It's a nice suit. It's not like a full suit. It's like a business suit, 3-piece. No tie, collar open. Um, his hair is kind of doing that spiky, that's super short but kind of spiky. And the 90s, they used to frost the tips, but this
Mm,
guy's just got kind of
mm-hmm.
sandy blonde hair and just they're not frosted. Um, there's a girl who is, she's short. Uh, and by short, I mean easily a foot shorter than literally everybody else in the group.
Okay.
Uh, but she's got a build like a power lifter. Like she doesn't look particularly what one would call typically feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's got thick, thick thighs and thick arms. Um, dressed in kind of a Wednesday Addams getup, come pastel goth.
Mm,
It's kind of a weird uh, kind of dissonance, um, that kind of daintiness on somebody who is so obviously not dainty. Um, the third one, the man, he is he's got like a vintage tweed jacket on, jeans, an old tour shirt from an 80s band. His face is unremarkable to the point of being something you would almost just completely pass over if you weren't looking. Um, but his demeanor gives away that he's nervous, that he is constantly looking around, constantly checking out his surroundings, constantly like
mm.
the guy in the suit stretches a hand across the bar and goes, "Hey, I'm Rob."
Malice. You can call
He
me
goes,
Al.
"This is Al." So our Al, and they all kind of chuckle,
Mm-hmm.
says that you might be down for some mischief.
I'm known to get in trouble here and there.
the little one waves up at you and goes, she's like, "Hi, I'm Wendy."
Hi, Wendy. Nice to meet you. I'm loving this getup. Your style is amazing.
She's thanks. She goes, "Yeah, we're going to be heading to some other venues." She goes, "We figure we should be out there doing our very best to put some lumps of coal in some very, very deserving people's stockings."
Mmm. A night for revenge. Mm. Yeah, let me just go check in with my other bartenders and make sure they've got, these huge crowds handled for the night.
Alyssa smiles broadly and drums on the counter, and she said, "Good, we'll meet you outside on the curb."
All right.
So they head off. The four of them walk up the stairs and out.
Yeah, I head over to check in with Ruby and see what's going on.
Ruby looks at you and she's like, "That was weird. Everything okay?"
Yeah, just got invited out for the evening. Sounds like they want to get in a little bit of trouble. I don't see the harm too bad.
Her brow kind of furrows, and she's like, "Would Michael be okay with that?"
Well, I may seem like Michael's lapdog, but every once in a while, I mean, I wouldn't be me if I didn't get in a little bit of trouble.
She kind of nods, and she's like, "Okay, okay." Um, she's like, "Well, I mean, will..." She kind of wistfully looks around, and she's like, "I mean, I guess I can hold it down here." She's like, "It's not like we've done more than $50 all night so far."
I figured as much. Anything you need me to bring back?
She's like, "Wouldn't mind if you brought us home a snack."
Should be doable.
She gives you a kiss on the cheek, and she's like, "You'll call if anything happens, right?"
Of course, just make sure your ringer's on.
She holds up her phone. She goes, "For you, always."
All right.
So what do you do now?
Uh, do I have time to hit up the apartment and grab my usual supplies?
I would assume that you would have at least... what do you, now? Okay, hold on. When you say usual supplies, what do you mean?
Usually, when I'm leaving the premises, I grab my brass knucks and my pistol.
I would assume you probably already have your brass knuckles on you, but not your pistol.
Okay.
So if you want to, I mean, you could always go outside and tell them that you need to make a quick stop,
Okay.
and run to the apartments, or you could decide that you have other tools at your disposal.
Yeah, let's leave the gun out for tonight. Let's see how that mixes things up.
Okay.
So, yeah, I go ahead and meet them outside.
So are you going to say anything to Lane?
Oh, that's right. She was on the bar across from me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I just basically check in with her and tell her the usual, I'm heading out. Please watch out for things. Let me know if you need me, and make sure Ruby doesn't get any fucking trouble.
She, as you say that, she kind of eyes the group that's at Ruby's bar, and she kind of rolls her eyes, and she's like, Slade, I get that's Michael's thing.
What's up? Come in. Thank you. Okay.
Live stream.
Thank you. Food drop off.
So Lane says, Slade, that's Michael's thing. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
She says, but she goes, I don't like the rest of it. She's like, I don't like that.
Really? I mean, you have any experience with these guys? Any observations?
She's just like, she's just like, she's like, I guess I don't really have any reason to. Like, they're putting money in the coffers, and and there's, they don't ever get in trouble. But she's like, I don't know, just seems like weird.
Do we still keep weapons under the bar?
Lane definitely has something under the bar.
Yeah, just reminder, like, you use discretion, obviously, but if things get out of hand, I trust you to take care of it. But also to message me at the same time, so if I'm needed, I can get my ass back here.
She's like, I don't think it'll be like that. She's like, when Ruby's on her own, she's sweet, she's attentive, she's easy to talk to, and these new friends come around, and she's somebody else. She's like, I don't like it.
Yeah, I noticed they got real odd when I stepped into the scene, so I that's already on my radar. But honestly, I'm kind of sick of her shit lately. The whole jealousy thing, she should just fucking know better with me and with this lifestyle. So I think she needs some time to cool the fuck off. Hopefully she doesn't do anything stupid, but I could use some time to myself too. So leave it in your hands.
Lane kind of nods, and she's like, well, uh, have fun.
All right.
So when you go out, how do you leave the building? Are you going to go out the front door, or are you going to head out the back and then go through the alley?
Let's cut through the alley.
So when you go out the back and you cut through the alley, you can't help but notice that those rats that Idaho loves to talk to
Mm-hmm.
are strangely absent.
Mm.
Um, the normal swarming of them that is back there that he takes advantage of so often. It's they're not completely gone. You still see one or two, but it is not nearly as uh, pervasive, shall we say, as as it is on other nights. When you come out of the alleyway, you look down the street. Um, you see Alyssa standing on the corner, looking around next to a big black Escalade.
Mm-hmm. Alice
Is
is
either
thinking, I'm really hoping they don't want to go to New York.
it is From where you are, the Escalade is very, very obviously some sort of tricked out like limousine. It's got neon lights on the underside. It's got spinny rims on it. So, what do you do?
I approach and I say, "All right, fuckers, what are we getting into?"
She smiles and says, "Your carriage," and opens the door for you.
I cautiously crawl in.
So the interior of the this limo Escalade is like the seats in the back have been taken out and have been replaced kind of with a round of seats, like
Mm-hmm.
big plush leather seats. Um, and as you climb in, Alyssa climbs in after you, closes the door, and the limo pulls off. In the neon interior tinted, there you look around and see that there is an additional person there that you didn't see before. Robin, the very human contractor from upstairs,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is sandwiched in between Rob and the guy whose name you didn't get. She
There was
flashes
another
you
guy?
the guy in the tweed jacket
Oh, that
who
guy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she flashes you a big smile and is like, whoop whoop, hitting up the town.
What's the plan?
The Wendy gives Robin a high five and she looks at you and says, "Oh, we're gonna hit up some clubs downtown and show them what it means to party like anarchs."
Hmm. Do I know? I'm sure I would know, but what territory is downtown at this point?
So the direction that you are headed looks like you are heading into Center City.
Mm-hmm.
So when Robin, when Wendy says party like anarchs, Robin's like, anarchs? What's that?
I shoot Alicia the biggest, like, what the fuck look. And I'm guessing I'm sitting right beside.
Hmm.
So yeah, I lean in and whisper, "What the fuck do you think you're doing with my bartender?"
She kind of shrugs and she goes, "Wasn't my invite."
And whose was it?
She nods at Rob. Rob is very, very much looking at Robin and being cute and flirting with her and like rubbing noses against her. And Robin is very, very obviously kind of caught up in Rob's attention.
I'm wondering if he's doing anything to artificially gain that attention. Um,
If you wanted to know, you can, that's a roll.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so that's going to be wits and awareness. So for you, that's 4, 2, and 1 hunger. So 4, 2, 6.
Six
So
and
5 and
one,
1. It's
five
5
and
and 1.
one. Mm,
Do you want to spend any willpower
willpower.
to roll to re-roll this, or
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
So it's like 3 white.
So you can reroll 3 white.
Oh, god damn it.
So, you are pretty
Ugh.
sure that he's not doing anything supernatural here. He's not using awe. He's not attempting to dominate her or anything like that. He's being very, very charismatic and persuasive and flirting his ass off.
Okay.
And he is, of course, as a kindred, you know, able to exhibit quite a bit of charisma and, you know, been doing this for
Yeah.
a while probably. So no, not manipulating her, just you know, playing to his
Laying it on
strengths.
thick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to look over at Rob and say, so you two, what's the story there?
He goes, "Oh, there's no story." He kind of throws an arm around her and he goes, "Met her. She seemed cool, so figured, take her out. She seems like she's down to party. Says, who knows? Maybe things go well. Maybe, when all this is said and done, maybe take her out for a bite to eat." He kind of winks at you.
And I'm slowly giving him the slightest nod of no, side eye, and then I remind him she is my responsibility. She is my employee. She's a growing friend. She's my responsibility.
Robin reaches across and puts a hand on your leg. She goes, "It's okay." She goes, "I'm a big girl. I can handle myself."
You
She
would
looks
think so, but this is a pretty rough crowd.
when you say that, Alyssa laughs, like guffaws, and Wendy puts her hands up in shock horror and she goes, "Rough crowd."
In comparison to the people she probably runs with, I thought you'd take that as a badge of honor.
Wendy smiles sweetly at you and kind of shrugs and says, "Don't know what you're talking about. No wolves here."
Mmm. I wink at Wendy.
She gives you a very wolfish smile and turns and says something to the guy wearing the tweed jacket. He is unlike the rest of the group. He is focused elsewhere. He is continually looking out the window. He is looking for, looking up, looking out. He seems very preoccupied.
Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna try to get his attention and reintroduce myself and say I didn't get your name.
He kind of looks at you, and there's kind of a like he's not entirely sure what language you're speaking, and then he kind of snaps out. He goes, "Sorry, Marcus." He kind of hurriedly shakes your hand and kind of goes back to looking out the window. Alyssa rolls her eyes and elbows you and goes, "Don't worry about him. He's being dramatic."
Well, where's our first stop?
Rob says, "There is a club night called Kuru that we are going to be doing our first stop at. The people who own it are he says they're, how shall I say, not like us. And he looks at Robin and he goes, they are not anarchists. And Robin kind of hee hee hee. She goes, you keep saying that. I don't understand what that means.
Let's just say it's a very inclusive club.
She's at that point, she's like, ooh, what do you have to do to get in?
Let me worry about that.
When you say that, she seems a little, shall we say, down. Like she's been excluded from something fun. When you pull up to the nightclub, it is nowhere near as grand as the Beacon or the High Life or any of the other clubs that have been out that you have been to here in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of understated. Um, it looks like it was built in the like an old retail building.
Mm.
They couldn't rent the floor out for anything, so instead they decided to try something new. So the front windows are all blacked out. Um, there are still mannequins that are in the window. Um, the all of the mannequins are, they're all dressed in holiday decor. They've got wreaths on their necks. They've got um, Santa hats on, and red noses and things like that. But it's difficult to note and not to notice that um, even though underneath of all of that they seem to be garbed in very kind of boutique couture, very high end stuff. But underneath of that, all of the mannequins have been intentionally made to look uh, emaciated. Um, all of the faces on the mannequins are very almost skeletal. The mannequin ribs, like on one you see, is wearing kind of couture, like a crop top and some leather pants that have had holes torn in them, so they look like they're jeans, but they're leather. But you can see like actually like somebody went to the effort to make the ribs like protrude so that it's like plastic ribs sticking out, and it looks um, it's just such a dissonant scene there with all of the the holiday garb on top of the high end fashion on top of the what look like starving people. Um, it definitely sets a tone. When Robin sees that, she goes, "This is so weird."
You wanted to come along.
She's like, "Well, yeah," but she kind of gestures at Rob, who is very pointedly not paying attention, and she's like, "I mean, look at him. Oh my god."
Maybe sometimes you should weigh out the risks before you weigh out their looks. Just little piece of advice.
She's like, "Sometimes some fun is worth the risk."
You better hope so.
So as you go in, Kuru is somewhat more lively than the Beacon was. Still not packed, still not a full house, still not a lot of people there. It is still it's not a full house, but There are quite a few. There are quite a few people. There's people out on the dance floor. Um, the music is kind of up tempo electronica. When you get inside, there is a weird mix of very minimalist. Everything is very clean lines, black and white, lots of mirrors, underlighting. But there are also, and of course, holiday decor to go on top of all of
Mm-hmm.
this. But there's also a weird, like every once in a while, there is like punctuated, like weird, like tiki statues or um,
Mm.
like pygmy heads and pygmy statues, and it looks like somebody had like a lot of money and had a lot of um, had a design aesthetic in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone went behind them and
Just fucked it up.
just started putting up their own little kitsch objects and things like
Mm.
that. So as you get in, you see all of this. The group kind of circles up and says, Rob looks around and says, I think we should split up and make this a contest.
Rules.
He clasps his hands and he says, he looks over his shoulder and he looks at you and he looks at Robin and smiles and then pulls you close like he's going to say something to you about Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And he whispers in your ear, he goes, we know the people who are funding this place are laundering money through it for Camarilla Front.
Mm.
He says, so we can't put this place to the torch. He pulls back and he looks you in the eye and he goes, but if we did some things to make this place maybe a little less popular.
Anything particular you have in mind?
He goes, that's the competition. He goes, wouldn't be fun if I gave you my plans, now would it?
Well,
He,
I'm just even meta. I'm kind of. I asked for rules because I wanted to not know his particular method, but the agenda.
um,
I'm still feeling they're being vague to me.
Alyssa leans in. She goes, so a couple months ago, we showed up at one of these places, and she goes, Rob manipulated one of the ghouls into putting hands on Wendy in full front of everybody. She goes, which we then used as the opportunity to beat the fuck out of him.
Interesting.
She goes, yeah, we went a little ham. We had to lay low for a couple weeks, but they didn't have nearly quite so many people there for the next couple weeks.
I see all the fun in this, but to what end do you actually want all this? I mean, you really think that some, games, hitting their, crowd size is really going to take care of the root cause?
Alyssa goes, no, but we're bored.
I see.
She grabs your hand and she goes, come on, let's scope the place out and see what we can get ourselves into.
Okay.
As you and Alyssa walk off, you notice Rob takes Robin's hand and walks off with her, and Wendy and Marcus split up and go in a completely different direction.
Man, just out of character. I just know I'm gonna get fucked on this one. Like, no matter what happens with Robin, like, if she gets fucked up, I'm still gonna be the one to blame, even if I rescue her. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. All right. I'm
Uh,
back.
I mean, you do have, you know, your ability to fix things.
Well,
You know,
yeah, but that's why I used the quotations like rescue her. The final rescue, as it would be. Okay, so I'm off with Lissa.
so Alyssa and you start to head kind of along the edge of the club and kind of heading towards the back. There is a, it's not a fire escape, but it's a set of stairs that are kind of like that are like see-through metal, so like a fire escape kind of, that are going up in the back, that go up to a second floor that is kind of it's like a weird half floor. When you're looking up from the bottom, uh, there's a ceiling above you, but there's also places where there's like holes you can see through where you see
Mm-hmm.
people sitting around tables and things like that.
Okay,
So it's not like there's a complete second floor. It's kind of like an upstairs balcony, kind of an upstairs seated area.
gotcha.
When you get when you get up there, um, Alyssa heads for an office area. It says employees only, and she says, "Can you get us in, or do you need me to get us in?"
Well, I'd kind of like to know why we need to get in. What are you doing?
She says, "Well, if they've got any sort of record keeping or financials or anything like that, uh, throwing them in a trash can and then taking it, mixing it with their trash downstairs will make sure that goes right into the fucking dumpster."
It's actually not a bad idea. Do I have a lockpick?
You do not actually have any points in larceny. You could attempt to do it just using your dexterity. Um, it'd be dex and insight, but that's going to be a pretty difficult roll for you. You could attempt to jimmy it using your dex and technology, as you would know how a lock should work. Um, or of course, you could say, "No, I can't do this," and offer to.
And it's just a key mechanism. It's not a keypad. It's not.
Right. Yeah, it's just a lock
Okay.
door.
I'm I'm gonna default to her.
She nods and
I'm like, this is your rodeo. Go for it.
she's like, "Cool, keep an eye out." So she leans against the door facing you and smiles and nods and like giggles like you've just said something funny. But you realize that she actually has her arms, one arm up
Mm-hmm.
behind her under her jacket, and she is manipulating the door
Pretty smooth.
sight unseen. As you look around the club, you see Rob and Robin on the same floor across from you. Um, she is now wearing his jacket.
What is this, fucking high school?
Um, and he is making her laugh and pointing at things and leans forward, and it looks almost like he's kissing her, and then you realize that he pulls back and has produced a can of spray paint from within his jacket and is using her wearing his jacket, making kind of a fool of herself to distract from the fact that he is using this can of spray paint and like spray painting little shots onto some of the tiki masks and the pygmy
Oh my
stuff.
God, seriously? Oh yeah, such anarchists.
The door pops open and Alyssa gives you a wink and a smile and pulls you into the room really quickly and closes the door. The inside of the room, it's dark, not completely dark. There's monitors on, there's a lamp on,
Okay.
but the room is basically wall to wall filing cabinets and desks with paperwork on it. And Alyssa goes, "Well, fuck." She goes, "I was expecting there to be like an office cabinet, not like an entire room full of office cabinets."
You didn't think if they were money laundering that they weren't gonna have other businesses, other records? Shit. Um,
She's like, "No, if I want to steal something, I break into a place and steal it."
could I tell by looking at the computer monitors if it looks like there could be any kind of records that I'd be interested in, financials, personnel list,
Um, that would be your
tech.
wit and technology.
Okay.
So 4, 2, so that's 6, 5, and 1. So when you are investigating on the computer really quickly, one, whoever's running this place has no sense of computer security whatsoever, as they
Oh,
left their log
Jesus.
on logged in.
Oh my God.
So you have access to email, you have access to their browser, you have access to the entire computer. Um, there are a couple things that come up immediately that you see.
Okay.
One is that there is some of the money that is coming from here. Um, is going to the Walnut Street Theater. Some of the money is going to a French restaurant that you vaguely remember having visited once upon a time with Vic and Idaho. But there are a couple other locations on there that you've never heard of before, uh, including one that is just an address. It is just a street name and an address.
I'm gonna search the room. Do I find like a USB stick?
Uh, there is not anything there in there that is like a USB stick or anything like that. Um, there's printers. There is.
Can I get decent shots of like the screen with my cell phone?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, everything, all the addresses, names of businesses, the plain address, anything I want it. Just shot, 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 shot.
So, in one of the there is a like text document that is on the. You okay?
Yeah, every once in a while it just like bursts in pain and then it'll go back to like a dull throb. So it's caught me off guard like 4 times today. Okay, sorry.
There is a text document on the desktop. When you open it, it is a list of known Anarch locations that includes
Boy.
the apartments and includes your name next to your apartment numbers. It includes the beacon. It includes Nawal's row house. It includes the wrecker. And then there
Okay.
are a bunch of other things that are on this list as well.
Well, at least the shit pertaining to us and our holdings, fucking delete it.
You just gonna delete it?
I mean, I want to take the screenshots first to show what they were doing, how they were record keeping this. But yeah.
So, as you're deleting all of this information, taking pictures, um, Alyssa has been kind of posted up next to the door, and she says, "Hey, somebody's coming." She's like, "You ready to drop them if they come in and they see us?"
Um, well, I know I can try to make my ass invisible. Um, did I already get? I'm trying to remember if we leveled up, if I got my new ability or not.
You did get dominate or mesmerize, excuse me.
Is that the one where I can go in front of cameras or because I know I was
No,
tied up at 2 different ones I wanted, and I knew that was one.
no, that's that would have been the one from Obfuscate, and you didn't have the points for that one.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Yeah, to figure out which one mesmerize is again.
Mesmerize.
It's so new.
The vampire can issue complex commands to a victim as long as they have the subject's gaze and relative quiet in which to issue the instructions. The
Oh
instructions must be
yeah.
carried out immediately to the best of the victim's ability and must not contain any conditional actions. Quote, if you see Henry, give him this document. as this would require the victim to exercise cognition.
Okie dokie. So essentially, if I can try to obfuscate in the dark, right? Hide in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the lights get turned on and we get caught, I can try to issue an order.
So you can now the in the dark doesn't really matter if you use unseen passage, since nobody will see you. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay.
However, that won't fix the problem for Alyssa.
Because I don't know what her abilities are. Well, better for one of us to get caught than both of us to get caught. So I'm going to let her know I'm going to hide out on this one. If nothing else, we'll meet you outside.
So you're going to use unseen passage.
Yeah.
Okay. So unseen passage is one rouse check.
Oh.
So
Dun, uh,
as you slip away, you can feel that tightening in your stomach, that ever present need contracting. Alyssa tucks herself to the side as best she can. The door opens, and a tall, blonde haired girl with her hair up in a ponytail, with very severe makeup and a kind of couture pantsuit, struts into the room. And you know her.
mm.
You remember her from a time period when you were out having a night with Ruby and got caught in a bathroom.
Yep.
Tabitha opens the door, walks in, sees Alyssa, and before Tabitha can even say anything, Alyssa straight up punches her. Straight up, just out of the dark, haymaker hits her straight in the face, and she hits the ground.
Do I have a means to slip out of the room around this whole kerfuffle?
When so you could so let me just to clarify. So are you attempting to get out without like trying to bump into anybody or
Right. To
um
maintain the invisibility.
so when Alyssa hit her, the door basically closed behind you.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Um so you could now, as long as the user emits no overpowering odors and no sound louder than a whisper, you automatically are invisible. Um, Only if the observer has their attention drawn to the user can they make a detection roll. The user cannot use this power to disappear. Will be now actively observed. Alyssa wasn't looking at you. So you could, in theory, attempt to open the door and sneak out unseen. But that's going to be a roll.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
So
do this.
that will be, we'll say that's going to be your we'll say your dex and your stealth.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 and 2.
Okay. And 2.
So you well, Alyssa, the last thing you see is Alyssa basically straddles this woman and pulls her hand back, and you can tell at this point that she's gonna do some damage, that she's looking to fuck Tabitha up.
Mm.
But that's the last thing you see is her pull her fist back. You were able to very, very quietly push the latch on the door open and slink out and back into the top of the club. When you get out looking around the club, the first thing that you see is you see Rob and Robin. Um, Rob's got his jacket back. He seems to be actively heckling some of the customers there, um, kind of making a big scene. But while he's doing that, um, you see Robin behind him, and she's laughing and walking. And you notice that as she's laughing and walking, she's got that can of spray paint like behind her, like in her trailing hand. And as she's walking, she's just leaving like a trail basically at knee level. You
Because petty vandalism's gonna hit him where it hurts. Ugh.
you also see the other two, Wendy and Marcus. Wendy is eyes locked on the bartender. She's got a big smile on her face, and she's got one hand across the bar. She's got him by the tie. And even though she is smiling and batting her eyes, and you'd almost mistake it for her being very, very forward or flirtatious, or except that you also see the bartender and he looks like he's about to shit himself. Behind her, you see Marcus, and he is just kind of staring off into the middle distance. Like, there's a split second there where you almost feel bad because of the three duos, you seem to have gotten the only one with a capable second kindred. The Rob is having to trail with Robin, and Wendy is doing her best to lead Marcus around because he is not here. So What are you gonna do? 1 second. Let me give
Mm,
you one little bit of additional information.
okay.
You were standing outside of the door to the office. Um, Even from through the door and with the music up, you can still hear Alyssa hitting Tabitha.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a beeline to Wendy and not grab her, but get her attention off of this fucking bartender she just wants to terrorize and let her know, like, your girl is beating some other girl's ass upstairs.
So you're going to drop unseen passage now that you're
Well,
out and
once
back on the
once
floor.
I'm closer, I want to get away from the office area so nobody even thinks that I came from that direction.
Okay, so you're going to basically like kind of walk or like maybe head to the stairwell and wait until you're on the stairwell heading back down,
Mm-hmm.
and then okay. So when you go up to Wendy, how are you gonna approach this? How are you gonna say this?
Just get, real, like, right in her ear. Like, I know you're having fun, but Alyssa's up there beating some girl's ass, and it might just bust y'all's fun. I think you should go get your girl.
Wendy looks at you and she looks kind of sad and she's like, lame. Wendy charges off, leaving you there with the bartender who is sweating bullets. Like, he honestly looks like he's
I lean over
terrorizing.
to him and I'm like, what did what was she saying to you, man?
He's like, he's like, I don't even know if I even want to tell you about the things that she said she was going to do to me. Like, when you look at him, he is clammy. He is, he is uncomfortable.
Well, I'm gonna slide him a 20 and just be like, man, I'm sorry for your troubles, man. And then I'm gonna try to make my way to Robin.
So you're going to leave Marcus there?
If I remember correctly, you didn't say he was really getting in any trouble. He was just sitting there.
He's just kind of standing there staring into the middle distance. He's
Okay, if that's
definitely
the case, I'll grab him. I'll be like, Marcus, you need to come with me, fool. Let's go.
when you grab him, he startles like hard, and then he looks at you and he looks around and he's like, "What's going on? Where?"
Um,
He's like, "Where, where is she? When was the last time you saw her?" He's like, "We need to go."
which she? I sent one she to go pull the other she off another she because she's beating her ass.
He's like, he like closes his eyes and like you can like see him like panicking. He's like, "We need to go.
Yeah, the
We
fuck we
need to go."
do. Why don't you help me find Robin, and then we will at least get our asses outside and then figure out if Wendy needs backup.
So when you guys get to Robin, and it's not difficult to find them because Rob is definitely putting on a spectacle. You
I already know I hate this guy, but okay.
almost got a big old smile on his face. Robin is looking at him almost beatifically. Like, she has, anytime that she looks at him, like, she's got big old eyes, like anime style eyes for him. And, like, it would be almost funny, except that you've seen this kind of behavior before. And this does not come
Mm-hmm.
across as normal behavior.
Hmm. So I recognize it. Is there a role I could do to like figure out exactly what's going on?
You can use wits and occult.
Okay.
4, 3, so 7, so 5 and 2.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna mention a bio break. Okay. Okay. You said 5 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Real quick, in chat, Val, since you redeemed, I promise next time you jump on and we're not doing vampire, I owe you. So please remind me. I'm sorry that we didn't hit the bio break fast enough, but thank you for redeeming that. Okay.
Do you want to use one of your willpower to re-roll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Reroll 3.
Mm-hmm.
Two more, so 4 out of 5.
You definitely know that he has dominated her in some way, shape, or form. You're not exactly sure what exactly he's done to her. You don't know if he has simply mesmerized her, or if he's um, used awe in combination with mesmerism to kind of enthrall her. You don't know if he's you, you don't get the feeling that he's that old or that powerful, so you don't think that he's done something like, you know, given her a terminal decree or even blood bonded her or anything like that. But
Okay.
he's definitely done something to her to make her more pliable, and definitely make her more into him.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get close enough to him to be like, we need to get out and you and me need to fucking talk.
He gives you a big smile and he goes, "Where's Alyssa?"
Alyssa is beating the shit out of somebody that I presume works here. Wendy is going to pull her off, as far as I know. You, me, Marcus, Robin, we need to get the fuck out of here and wait for them outside.
Marcus at this point is almost panicking. He's like got his hand on Rob's arm. He's like, "We need to go." He's like, "We
Mm-hmm.
need to go now."
Mm-hmm.
Rob makes a really big show of sighing and kind of rolling his eyes, and he's like, "Whatever."
Look, you can be a pissy bitch somewhere else, okay? You drug me out here.
He throws his arm around Rob and he goes, "Come on, we're gonna go fun somewhere else." So, what are you gonna do? Are you going to head out?
I'm gonna at least. I'm wondering if I have some ability to break his hold over her.
Now, you could certainly dominate her, if you could get her attention and you could mesmerize her yourself. But there are some limits to that.
Yeah, yeah. Because at this point, for me to tell her, like, you're on your own, you're a grown ass adult, you want to make these decisions and not listen to me, but now she's not even in her right mind. So once, like, at this point, I'm going to wait to say much more until we all congregate outside.
So when
At this point, do you want to take a quick bio break?
And I was actually going to say, this is actually kind of the perfect place to
Yeah,
take a real quick break. So let's come back at 15 after,
that sounds good.
and we will
Yeah.
pick up the rest of this.
All right, everybody. Again, sorry, Val, that we didn't make it to the bio break quick enough. I do owe you the tarot reading next time that you jump on stream. Everybody else, thanks for sticking with us. Just I am responding to chat if you guys want to say anything or shoot some emotes, whatever you. Yeah, so we will be right back. Okay, everybody. I know Knox isn't back yet, but we got a few minutes. I thought I'd say hi to everybody and thank you so much for making my birthday so special and showing up and saying hi. And um, like Rory was with me through a huge part of the day. We played Timeline, and Rory was such a huge help. I highly recommend that game, by the way. Um, I have recorded sessions if you guys want to go check those out, see if it's something you think you'd be interested in. Um, but yeah, we got a minute to chat. So what's everybody up to? What are we doing for the holidays? Stochka's gotta go. Have a great birthday and happy holidays. You too. Big half hearts. Thanks so much. Dun, 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 dun. See who's watching. I see some of you guys. I see Useless. I see Vivid. I see Skittish Tiger. Lurking. There's Philly. Yeah, I see a bunch of you guys. How about some shout outs real quick while we have a moment? Who wants a shout out? Aw, puppers. Let's get, let's see, let's get Philadelphia by night. We are live, but you are muted. Trying to make sure I spell this right. Hello. See if I can get the shout out. There we go. Playing Kind Words. I love Kind Words. That's a great game. Very cool. Okay, I'm unmute you. Okay. We should be good.
All right, ready to start?
Yep. Let's go.
All right, so welcome back to our Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition Chronicle, Philly by Night. For those who are just joining us, Al has escaped the Club Kuru and has managed to get some, if not all, of this weird little group of kindred to join her back outside. So, when you exit
Mm-hmm.
the club, the limo is out on the curb. Rob and Robin crawl right in. Marcus crawls in. What do you do?
I lean in and I'm like, "Are we waiting for your friends? What's your plan here?"
Rob looks at you and he goes, "They'll be out in a minute."
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna assume that they trust their friends, so I'll go ahead and climb in.
So you climb in, the door closes, and the driver, his phone beeps, and you can hear someone talking to him. And he's like, yeah, okay, we're on it. We're on our way. He pulls off the curb and kind of heads around the block and then hooks right, and then he hooks another right and pulls up into the like employee access alley or next to
Mm-hmm.
the employee access alley for the club. And coming out of the back door, before you see anything, you see Wendy's pastel dress, and she's kind of skipping ahead. And then you see Alyssa, and Alyssa has over her shoulder Tabitha.
Oh, fuck. Oh, oh fuck, fuck. Okay.
The two of them climb into the limo, and a couple things happen at once. First, when they set Tabitha down, Tabitha's not beaten beyond recognition. She's not completely foobarred, but she's covered in blood. When Robin sees that, she kind of snaps. She's like, "What the fuck?" At the same time that happens, the limo driver is like, "Hey, this isn't an ambulance. You can't bring that blood in here." He's like, "Oh, that's a fee. We're gonna have to charge you for cleaning this." Rob and Alyssa are doing their best to kind of calm Robin down. Wendy like snaps on the driver and is like, "It's none of your fucking business. Just fucking drive." The curb pulls off the curb, and Alyssa says to the driver, who goes, "Forget the rest of the locations. Take us to the last stop."
I perk up. I'm like, the last stop better be the beacon.
She's like, she looks at you. She goes, "Well, next to last stop." So you are in a limo now with five kindred. Four you don't know very well. One who, the last time that you met, basically could have put you under her thumb and didn't. And Robin. What do you do?
This point I'm just waiting to get back to the beacon. Um, so we're doing the beacon and then they're going to their last stop, or they have one more stop before the beacon? I
They're
misunderstood.
they're going to whatever stop and then the beacon.
Okay, I basically say, look, I need to know what the fuck the plan is. I don't like this flying by the seat of our pants bullshit. Where are we going and what are we doing? What's the objective?
Alyssa opens her mouth to say something to you, and that's when Tabitha spits blood on you, and you can smell it. That kindred vitae, and your stomach clenches up, and through broken lips and missing teeth and one eye that's basically shut. She looks at you. She goes, "I know you."
Do I have a means of making her think she doesn't know me? Would that be mesmerize?
You could attempt to persuade her that she doesn't know you. You could attempt to intimidate her into think she doesn't know you. Um, you could, if you were feeling particularly malicious, you could use dementation on her. Um, but you don't currently have some way of being able to kind of magically erase her. So you're either
We'll try persuasion. If I can't persuade her, then we'll figure something else out.
okay. So that's going to be charisma and persuasion. So it's a good roll for you. Three, so 6, so 4 and 2. But you're going to need a fairly high number of successes here because you're attempting to convince
Yeah.
a kindred that they don't know you.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know if I can look. Let's just hit the button.
Well, that's only 2 out of
Fuck.
4 and 2. 4 and 2.
Is that not what clicked?
Yeah, no, only you only got 2 on
Oh.
that.
It's because I use my number pad. My force doesn't always connect. Sorry. That was on me.
Okay, so do you want to burn a willpower for this, or
God, I must not have that many left.
you're only down to 2 willpower?
Oh shit. Okay.
So
I know
you roll.
Scott and or Vic and Idaho would be on my ass. Come on, do it. Okay, 2 white.
So 3 white. You
Oh,
can
3
you
white.
can.
That's right. 3 roll 3.
So you, when she says she knows you, you kind of look at her and kind of be like, "You don't know me. You don't know who I am." She spits more blood and she looks at you and she's like, "Fuck you." She's like, "I absolutely know who you are. You am that little bitch you walk around, run around with." She's like, "Oh, you are so fucked. You are so fucked." She's like, when I finally tell everybody, when I finally tell the court, Alyssa looks at you and goes, "Yeah, that's not gonna happen." The limo drives along the river, heading north, and pulls off into kind of an industrial area, and then pulls up to a bunch of storage and warehouses that are right on the edge of the water. Alyssa grabs Tabitha and shoves her out of the limo. Wendy looks at the limo driver and says, "You'd better fucking be here when we come back." And she gets out and follows Alyssa. Rob kind of prods Robin on. It's not quite shoving her out the door, but definitely bringing her along.
Mm-hmm.
And even though she's now kind of in full, like, what the fuck mode, and she's like kind of panicked, looking at you, looking at Rob, looking at Tabitha. Like, it's definitely not setting in. Like, whatever Rob has done to her, it's not
Yeah.
there.
Um,
Marcus, he gets out of the car, and he's like, um, he's like panicking. He's like, I'm gonna try to clean this up.
um, I get close to Rob and I'm like, dude, you know she has nothing to do with this. Like, just leave her in the fucking car. I mean, look at it this way, it's collateral, right? We don't want this guy ditching us here. Just leave her in the car, man.
He smiles at you, a smile with no mirth, and he says, "But where's the fun in that?" He goes, "Besides," and he leans in and he gets like right in your face, and he goes, "It tastes better when it's afraid."
Okay. I'm not playing your fucking game right now. You can have anybody you want. You're doing this to fuck with me and to fuck with my crew. Do you understand the wrath at which that Michael would bring down on you for this bullshit? This is you claim you're out here trying to be an anarch and everything, but you want to take what you see as food out of Michael's mouth? That's really where you want this to go.
He kind of gives a shrug. There's definitely, when you bring Michael's name up, there's definitely a moment there where it registers what you're saying. He throws an arm around Robin. He's like, "Oh, you don't need to worry. We'll take good care of Michael's property." Alyssa at this point is dragging Tabitha deeper into the warehouses. Rob is kind of half heartedly prodding Robin on. Wendy just looks irritated and annoyed now, like all of her fun is gone now. Marcus is standing outside the car, and he is, with his bare hands, trying to like swipe the blood off of the seats, but he keeps like panicking. He looks panicked and afraid.
I'm going to look at Wendy and Marcus since I'm sure Alyssa's way too out of earshot. Look, I'm willing to see this shit through, but you need to get your boy here under control. I told him to leave the girl in the car. If he can't do that, I get in the car with the girl and we both leave. It's that
Wendy
simple.
Wendy looks after them and then looks at you and says, I've got a better idea. She puts her arm around you, which she's so short that it's putting
Yeah.
her arm around your waist, basically. And she kind of moves you away from Marcus. And she says, you know what's going to happen to Tabitha.
I assumed by this point, yes.
She says, she goes, I'll make you a deal. She says, just get through this. She says, let's kill this fucking cam whore. And once that's done, then she says, then I will help you deal with Rob, whatever you want.
Okay, but you're obviously missing the point that while I'm helping you kill your cam whore, Rob could just run off and do whatever the fuck he wants, couldn't he?
He
I
goes,
need
then
assurances.
she says, then we'd best be catching up with them to make sure that he's not doing whatever he wants right now.
I was under the impression we were all still at the car having this discussion. That was why I was trying to force her into the car.
Oh, no. Rob and Alyssa and Robin and the being drugged Tabitha are heading deeper into the warehouses. They've walked off.
Okay, I was not aware of that point. Uh, yeah, okay, but look, anything happens to her. So much as a sip, you won't just have to worry about Michael. I swear
Wendy
that to you.
Wendy puts her hands up and says, won't have to worry about me.
Oh, no, no, no. This will be on all of you if you don't hold your boy accountable. And I walk off.
Before you walk off, Marcus grabs your hands and he is he's like shaking. He looks at you and he goes, please be quick.
Oh,
It's
believe me, I want to be the fuck out of here too.
he takes his hands back and he looks around and he goes, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. We shouldn't have left. We should not have left. I made a big mistake. Please, we need to go soon.
Hey, I've already brought that shit up. You're talking to the wrong person here, buddy. I've tried to get your less than intelligent friends to think this over and to at least take me home before I'm any further involved, and yet you're insistent on blackmailing me. So let's just get in there, get this the fuck over with, so I can go home.
Wendy says, "Let's get it done," and she follows. She walks with you. When you get to where the rest of them are, Rob has managed to get Robin to come down, but Alyssa has tied Tabitha to a like an oil drum. When you walk up, She kind of eyes you and Wendy, and then she's like, "Where's Marcus?"
Not my boy to watch after.
She's like, "How do you want to deal with this?" She's like, "We light her up." She's like, "Or we can leave her for the dawn."
Oh, honey, you misunderstood this whole thing, didn't you? You brought me along. I'm not now going to be responsible for the decision making of this bullshit, this clusterfuck you've created for yourself.
Alyssa looks at you and she goes, "I hate to tell you this. You might have gotten away with that before she ID'd you.
Oh,
So
honey,
she doesn't know my name. She doesn't know their name. She knows your name."
I'm not saying don't kill her. I'm saying I have no opinion on the matter. I'm not that dumb. I realize I've been made. Come on. Just figure out what the fuck you want to do and let's get it done.
She looks at Rob and she's like, "We need something flammable." Rob is like, "On it," giving her attitude. Grabs Robin by the hand and kind of roughly yanks her after him.
Mm. I don't think you need her help.
She's like, it's okay. It's I guess it's okay. I'll help."
If he fucks with you, give him a nice uppercut.
A couple minutes pass. Tabitha is spitting invectives as often as she can. Wendy is tapping her foot as everybody's waiting on Rob and Robin. Alyssa looks at her phone. She texts and she looks at you and she goes, "Something's not right."
Really? I've only been saying that the whole evening. Could you be more specific this time?
She's like, "Marcus isn't answering his phone and neither is the limo driver."
I mean, would you call yourself the leader of this little gang?
She's like, "Fuck, I don't even know these people." She's like, "We got together one other time for something like this and had some fun. And I thought it might be fun to do tonight."
Hmm. Yeah. You see, it seems like you take the idea of anarchy a little too far. You still have to make some good decisions in there. And this was not one of them. Now, I suggest you text Rob, tell him to get his ass back here, whether he's found anything or not. I hate to leave the scene of the crime, but I suppose I could take Wendy and we could go out and look for fucking Marcus.
It's at about this point that you hear a scream that is unmistakably Robin's.
I look right at Alyssa. I'm like, I told you I will fuck him up. I warned you. And I just bolt toward the scream.
Wendy and Alyssa are hot on your heels as the three of you are running.
Well, who the fuck's staying with the hostage?
I mean, she's trussed up.
Okay. I mean, never trust a kindred, but okay.
So, when you come around the corner, you see Rob standing in front of a warehouse. And it's one of those kind of big, like giant warehouses, like that they use to like pack a whole ton of shit in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the garage doors is rolled up, and inside it is it is pitch black. It is black you can't even begin to pierce with your eyes. Rob is squaring up and he is screaming all sorts of profanities basically at the darkness. Robin is on her knees and she is hyperventilating.
Can I tell if she's been wounded?
She is covered in blood, but
Yeah, I'm pulling out my brass knuckles.
as you're pulling at your brass knuckles and you see Wendy's fingers start to elongate and sharpen, you
Fucking lying bitch.
you see
Uh,
why Robin is hyperventilating. In her hands, she is holding what looks like a. At first, when you look at it, it looks like something flimsy, like a bag or like a wrapper of some sort. And then as she holds it up, you see that it's Marcus's face. Alyssa has gone like pale. She's like, fuck, he knew. He was right.
he was right.
He she's like backing away from Robin and she says, uh he he said he was gonna die tonight. He said he saw it.
It.
That he was gonna die. He said tonight was gonna be his last night. We all when he didn't want to go out and Rob browbeat him into it.
Yeah, you guys see how this goes when you treat people like this? You're pretty fucking pushy. Now we gotta figure this out.
So Wendy still has her claws out, and she is putting on a real strong facade, but she is looking back and forth between Rob and the darkness. Rob, meanwhile, is nonstop talking shit and pointing into the darkness and balling up his fists. Alyssa is stricken. Like, you've seen her before, now twice. Once at the club when somebody got in her face and was trying to feel her up, and she was quick to rely on violence then. And then again tonight with the situation in the room where she was quick to rely on violence again. But looking at Marcus's degloved face in Robin's hands, she doesn't look like that tough swagger anymore.
She's crumpling.
She looks like a scared little girl.
Well, at this point, I recommend we all get as far away from this fucking building as we can. And if we want to make quick work of Tabitha, well, maybe we feed her to the same ghost.
At this point, Rob walks into the warehouse.
At this point, I honestly don't care.
Wendy claws still bared, follows after him. You can't tell if she's going after him or what.
I just yell for Robin to come out to me.
Robin drops the face and looking at her hands, and she makes kind of a broken bird gurgling noise and starts to running back into the warehouses. Not into the one that Rob went, but away. Alyssa follows after her.
I guess I follow them all the while, like, yelling at Alyssa, like, what's your plan? What are we doing here?
Alyssa is she turns to you and she's like, she's like, we can use her as bait.
Excuse me?
She's like, if it's another, She's like, if it's another leech, she's like, it's one of us. She's like, they're gonna smell the blood. She's like, they'll go after her first. She's like, we can follow safely from behind and wait for them to jump on her, and we can figure out what we're dealing with. Or we can use her to run in one direction, and we can leave and go in the opposite direction.
Well, I'm certainly not leaving her to die. I mean, if this is your best idea, fuck it. Just get this over with. Because I don't trust you guys.
Robin runs into another warehouse. Alyssa follows after her. But when they walk across the threshold into the warehouse, you immediately hear something is different. Or more accurately, you don't hear.
Okay.
It is as if once they cross that threshold, that they stopped. They stopped making sound.
Is there anything I can tell that's peculiar about this place?
You
It,
feel like the shadows here are way thicker and way darker than they should be for there being moonlight in the sky,
mm-hmm.
and this does not feel natural to you.
I guess since the unseen?
Uh, that will be wits and aspects. So 4 and 3. So excuse me. So that would be 4, 3, 7. So 5 and 2.
5 and 2. Did it not enter? I said 5 and 2, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Space. It's not doing anything.
Um. Well, okay. 1 second.
Technical difficulties.
Possible infinite loop detected.
What the fuck?
Don't know. That was the excuse it gave me. Let me see. Yep. So it works again. So yeah,
Okay.
5 and 2.
Oh, what the fuck? You broke the universe, dude.
Happy birthday.
Right? That
Okay.
Mayan calendar, they were only off by a few years.
Um. Before I tell you, do you want to roll in? Do you want to re-roll your last willpower
Fuck it.
for?
I haven't been rolling very good tonight, so I don't have any hope. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that sucks. I bombed.
So you look into the darkness and you know that there is something unnatural about it. There's something about it that is not right. There's something about it that is uncomfortable and disconcerting. But whatever it is that you're looking at, you can't exactly tell
Thank you.
what you're not seeing.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do?
Well, if I can't hear them, there's no way to track them in the dark.
That is true.
Am I close enough to the entrance to make my way back out again?
You are now like kind of in the middle back, near the river of this warehousing facility area. Um, you could make your way back along the roads that are going in between of the all of the warehousing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you think you could probably make your way back to the limo. But you also know that doing so leaves Robin and Tabitha in the wind.
Yeah, but if I walk into the darkness, it's exactly that. I mean, could I tell by the direction they were running what side of the building that they should have like come out to, and if there are any doors on that side of the building?
You could, yeah. I mean, if you basically assumed that they were going to run straight through,
Mm-hmm.
you could walk along like that building, basically go around the corner and kind of cut to the other side behind the building.
Right. And then if there's any doors, windows, anything, just start opening, breaking, trying to get light or whatever light from the street lights or whatever would go in there.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Yeah. That's plan.
Okay. So, as you head around the corner, um are you attempting to be stealthy or are you running at this point?
Just running.
Okay, so just hauling ass, just running. Um, it doesn't take you terribly long to make it kind of around the building. After all, your muscles never get tired.
Hmm.
When you get around the building, the garage door on this side of the building is open as well.
Okay.
As you come around, you can hear footsteps that are coming from inside the warehouse. They're not running, they're not creeping. It's the sound of a slow, almost casual walk.
And it's coming toward the open door.
Hmm.
Then yeah, I'll stand in the doorway. Wait for the approach.
So when you say stand in the doorway, so you're standing, so basically, so you're directly visible.
Right, like I haven't crossed the threshold into the darkness. I'm just right outside.
Right.
very visible, like I'm right here.
When you the first thing that you see, or rather the first thing that you notice, is the shadow. The light is should be coming in from where the moon is now, should be causing the shadow to fall sideways,
Right.
and instead it is at an odd angle. The next thing you see coming out of the darkness is that tattered, worn suit.
God, it didn't even fucking hit me. Oh, it didn't even fucking hit me.
When he steps out of the darkness, that slash of a smile on his face. He says, "We keep showing up at the same club nights on the same time. Isn't that weird?"
Well, for a stalkery asshole like you, not really. A lot of us have come to expect it by now.
Shaw smiles. He steps close, as close as he can,
Mm.
and he is very much in your personal space.
Clenching them knuckles, clenching my knuckles.
He goes, "It would be unkind of me to not have brought you a gift. So, here." He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a hand and drops it at your feet. He says, "You know, for somebody who seemed to act as tough as she did, her last couple minutes, a lot of blubbering, a lot of crying."
What do I notice about the hand? Jewelry, tattoos.
It is the first thing you smell is that it is vitae. You smell the vitae. It does not smell. That's not human.
But can I tell if it's dustborn?
Uh, no, you cannot tell. You can't tell if it's dustborn.
No jewelry, no identifying marks. What about nail polish? Would I recognize?
Uh, what are you? So okay, what are you actually asking?
If just by identifying markers would I know immediately whose hand this is? Because he's just saying she, and I've got a few she's in my circle, so.
You're pretty sure this is Alyssa's hand.
Okay. You call this a gift. Why a gift? Why would I need this?
She goes, I don't know why you would need it. That's kind of weird. Said, but I do feel somewhat generous. He says, so let's play a game.
You know, I already saw this movie, but okay, whatever.
He goes, he puts his hands over his eyes and he goes, I'm going to count to 20 and you run. He says, and if you can get away, then I won't come for you tonight. Says, but if you can't, he says, I'm going to pay the rest of your family a visit later.
How far is it from where I am to the limo? And can I see at all if the limo is even fucking there?
You cannot see the limo from where you are. The limo is probably 5 or 6 buildings if it's where it was.
And is it on the closest main road, or is there another direction that I could intercept a busy road or business or
So okay, so the best way to explain it would be is you could so this warehousing uh, area has a bunch of like uh, chain link fences that are going around it, and there's a bunch of individual buildings. So it's
okay.
storage. Like businesses use this to store their crap there and
Yeah.
distribute from there and whatnot. So you could theoretically cut through, try to get to a fence, hop the fence, um, and get to a main road. You could, where the limo was, so cutting around it and getting there should be, too much of a difficulty. But doing it in a 20 count is going to be problematic to say the least. And of course, you can assume he already knows that's where you'll go.
Yeah. If I can't run, there's hiding. But even concealed, I think he's stronger than me enough that he'd see right through that.
You don't have any way to know that.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Thinking back to Tabitha, would he have any want or need of her? Mm,
you don't. There's no way to be able to assume that, but he's also so far been, shall we say, uh, unwilling to let easy prey go by.
I just gotta make him want something more than he wants me. And I have to assume Robin's probably dead too.
You don't know that as a fact. The
No, I
only
don't. It's like that's why I said I'm assuming I have no concrete evidence. So I say, before I play your little game, have you left any others to survive? Or was this all about me the whole time?
He takes his hands away from his eyes and chuckles, and he goes, "Don't you have quite the ego?"
Not so much ego in this instance. I would agree with you any other time, sir. But I was responsible for someone tonight. And forgive my bleeding heart. I do try to keep my word.
He cocks an eyebrow at you and says, "Perhaps you should stop worrying about others and start worrying about yourself." He puts his hands over his eyes again and steps back and says, "One."
Okay. If I assume that he assumes I'm gonna go straight for the car, then I need to take some like fucked up ass route to get there. Because he'll assume I'm gonna go straightest point. This is so hard to do without like imagining the exact layout. Because at this point, I'm just calling directions. Uh,
So you've got a couple different options. You could head towards the river. You could head basically away from him, which would be basically running towards Tabitha.
yeah.
If you run basically straight away from him. If you run past him, then you're running towards the car. And then if you run basically away from the river, but not so for lack of a better way to say it, so not north, not south. You basically, if you're running the only other option, you're running basically towards the fence on the side of the warehouses, and that'll take you through some of the other warehouses to get there.
Fuck it. Let's go for Tabitha.
So, turning, spinning on your heel, you take off running. When you
I'm so dead. I'm so dead. I'm so dead. Mhm.
when you get to where Tabitha is, she sees you, and she's like, "Where are all your friends, bitch?"
Oh, honey, you must have not been listening. I was not their friend. I was invited out. There's a huge difference there. But right now, there's no time to talk about that shit.
So I was gonna say, wait, hold on. So you stopped to have a conversation with her?
Well, I mean, you're thinking, well, I guess I could just try to run by and hope he sees her first.
Because
Fuck
you
it,
are on
let's just, I guess, run past.
So, as you run past her, she's like yelling after you. She's like, "Where are you going, you fucking cunt?" When you exit out the back of the that warehouse. You are standing on a loading dock that is, so it's basically like where like a ship would come in
Mm-hmm.
and park. Um, there is, so you're standing on the side of the dock. It comes down. It's like a squared off kind of rectangular shape with water in it at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
There's steps down from where you are, steps up on the other side. Um, you've got going straight out of dock. You're basically literally right on the river. You could swim the river if you really wanted to. But inside the dock, there is like down on in there is what looks like maybe like uh, flow access for the water to come in and out. Um, and through your panic, through your fear, through everything else, you swear you hear humming. It's almost a melodic sound. And at first you think
It's not my head, is it?
it does feel like it's in your head, but it's
Okay.
not, but it's not just in your head.
Okay.
You can also hear it. It's just much louder in your head than it is in.
Yeah, I'll go towards the humming.
So, dropping down into the dock area, um, you're able to kind of squeeze through the grate, through the bars that are where the flow comes out. It is, you're basically in a pipe and it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
It is not preternaturally dark, but it is still no light down here, nothing. And the only thing that you're now following is this faint humming sound, this melodic humming that is coming from deep in the pipes. As you're feeling along, walking, stumbling sometimes as your foot hits things, um, you come to know very easily, even without having any sort of sight, um, the shape of your environment because it's all the same.
Yeah.
There's water that's kind of about a little higher than knee high that you're pushing through. Um, and then the outside of it's like a concrete pipe. And every so often there's, kind of a joint divot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it is really, really weird when you are you've been traveling this. At this point you don't know how long. Maybe it's been 5 minutes, maybe it's been 15 minutes, maybe it's been an hour. You don't know. Time down here doesn't seem to work that way. When suddenly your foot catches and you are you realize that this isn't like concrete piping. Like this is like older. This is like brick or stone.
Okay.
After a couple more minutes of walking on this, ahead you see that the pipe kind of tees.
Okay.
Going to your left, it's just more of the same. It's more of the darkness and the pipe. But to your right, there is a faint light that is far down. Now you know from basically assuming from where you're walking, just kind of you mentally trying to figure out where you are. you know that taking a left going into the darkness should take you kind of parallel to the warehouse, like maybe towards some roads. Where taking a right here will take you away from the warehouse and further up the basically up along the river.
Can I tell, like, okay, so which of those directions would lead me closer, like, into the city?
So
Cutting
the
around the warehouse, essentially, and going
so
past?
so going towards the warehouse is taking going into the dark is going to take you to go and basically take you into closer to Philadelphia proper.
Okay.
Taking the other one towards the light and the humming will take you kind of along the river going kind of in a north northeasterly direction.
I guess there's safety in the light at this point. Can I tell what point of the evening this is?
It's it's late. It's very late.
But there's no,
Um,
is there mistaking this for sunlight?
no, it doesn't look like sunlight from
Okay,
here.
okay, just the clearing. Okay. Yeah, let's just keep going toward the light. Oof.
So when you hit the end of this, it empties out into um, like a wash that's behind a subdivision.
Okay.
But in this wash, there is a woman. She's tall, very tall, with black hair, straight black hair that goes in a braid all the way down to her feet and pools. She's wearing a simple white dress and she is humming. And it's at that point that you realize that the only thing you can hear in your head now is the humming. You don't hear any voices. There's no clamoring in the background. There's no whispering.
And when I look at her, I've never seen her before.
No.
I've never
Uh,
read
her
about this person. I have no knowledge of this kind of figure.
um when you look at her, um there is a almost thrumming feeling in your eyes. Her skin is deeply tanned. Um, she has a very, very strong jawline. Um, her lips are full and dark. She towers over you.
If I just think the words, "Who are you?" Do I hear anything in my head?
When you think that, she looks at you. She goes, "Come, child. You know the answer."
See, that's why I asked if I had any kind of knowledge of like what I know her from like.
God! No! God,
Oh,
please,
good
no!
Lord.
No!
Something got
No!
unmiked. On me. I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'm used to doing it before Monday night sessions, and I didn't think to do it tonight, so I was like, oh crap. Um, yeah, I was trying to figure out is this something Alice would know from stories or I don't know.
You could,
Would it be a
if
cult?
you could use it, the role is intelligence and occult. If you want to research that, so you're looking at 3 and 3, so 4 and 2. So you don't recall reading anything like this in any of your books about occult or beyond myths, rumors, but you do know from your readings that Malkavians who end up separated from the cobweb, that takes an intense amount of power to do that, to be able to pull someone out of that. You do know that some of the elders and antediluvians were rumored to be able to do things like this. Kindred who had been on Earth for time untold
Yeah, that's
had the ability to do this, but nothing. You've never ever heard of a Malkavian who went sane, for lack of a better
right, right.
terminology, and you feel, other than the wind that you feel blowing around you, that this is the first time since you died that you haven't had the constant companionship of the cobweb. You haven't had that legion whispering in your ears. This is the first time when you've had your thoughts all to yourself, or mostly to yourself.
Um, I guess I look to her and I think I apologize in this moment. I am not in my right mind, as you probably can see.
She stretches a hand out to you, as if beckoning you to come closer to her.
I approach.
She pulls you into her embrace. It's She is so tall that it almost feels motherly. She is as cold as you are. She tilts your chin up and she looks into your eyes. And when she looks into your eyes, you can hear the cobweb, but it's as if it's in a distant room, or as if you were walking by a stadium full of people. You can hear them all yelling and screaming, but it's so far removed from you that it seems irrelevant. She puts her hands on your face. She says, I already know, but I have to ask. She says, have you seen your father?
Do I immediately make the connection who she's referencing?
There are so many different possible ways that could be interpreted.
Yeah. I just want to look at her and let the confusion come. I know she'll feel it.
She gives you kind of a sad look, and then she says, he's here somewhere.
I just think the name Shaw and see what her reaction is.
She shakes her she just shakes her head and she
Okay,
goes,
okay.
he can't hurt you.
But my father.
She with the image of Shaw in your mind, she goes, he can't hurt you while you were with me.
And I just think thank you and exude gratefulness.
She smiles and kisses you lightly on the forehead. And when she does, it burns for a moment. It's not an unpleasing burn, but it starts in your throat, and it's a burn that kind of goes from the back of your mouth and then comes down your throat from your head and into your stomach. And just as the voices are gone, you notice that there's another voice that's gone too. That horrible, horrible clutching feeling in your stomach is gone.
I leveled up.
You feel satiated. You feel whole. She gives you another sad smile and she goes, It's time for us to part. She goes, I have to keep searching. She goes, and I think you have someone you're searching for too.
I say, or just think, yes, but I feel like I have so many more questions.
She
Mainly,
looks.
mainly the thought of what do you mean by father? If I have to focus it on one question.
She looks away from you and stands up straighter and steps away from you. She looks down and looks at you. She says, you are one of my children now. So I will give you a warning. She goes, I have eased your suffering for now. But every night that passes, that you don't embrace who you are, that suffering will return twice.
Oh boy.
She looks away from you, and as she starts to walk, she starts to hum again. When she's about 10 or 15 feet away, she turns back to you and she points. Up the wash. And she says, what you're looking for, it's that way.
I bow my head and I thank her.
She nods and smiles and continues walking.
I hightail it out of there then.
Do you go in the direction that she points you?
Yes.
So you crest over the top of the wash, and when you get there, there's a chain link fence that you have to hop over. You hop over it, and you're walking alongside a Circle K coming up on a road. And as you're walking up alongside the building, Robin runs into you and like falls on the ground.
Thank you, Jeebus.
She looks at you and she is a blubbering mess.
Oh, I bet. At this point, since we're at a safe spot, I'd probably use my phone to call the club. See about getting a pickup.
So, who do you call at the club?
Most points in drive is Vic.
Uh, Vic. Actually, Ruby.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I still kind of think I want Vic on this one. Uh, um, yeah, fuck it. I'll call Ruby.
So when you call Ruby, she picks up immediately, and she's like, "Hey, where are you? What's going on?" She's like, "It's almost sunrise."
Yeah, it's a long fucking story, and I promise you, I will tell you every detail. But yes, it is late, and I need a pickup.
She goes, "Give me the address. I'm on my way."
And I Google Map it, send it off.
She she's like,
Time.
"I will be there as soon as I possibly can." She hangs up the phone. You can hear her hustling. So your ride home is on the way. Robin is a mess. But in this moment, you still have no voices.
Mm.
And Robin smells fine, but you don't feel any need to feed or even have the thought cross your mind for a for the moment.
Hmm.
You have clarity.
I'm gonna pay for it tomorrow.
So, as you are waiting for your ride home, final thoughts.
Hmm. I feel like I had a lot of questions in the beginning, and now I just have more questions. Like, just the whole, like, trying to get Alyssa to talk to me, tell me where we were going, what we were doing, like, ugh. And now it's like, I question my reality. Which is, truth be told, for Alice. I mean, her reality is usually this reality. Now she's in real reality, wondering where her own reality went. At this point, now it's just getting Robin back to the club and dealing with the repercussions of that part of the evening.
Well, with that, our session concludes, though certainly not our chronicle.
Definitely not. And yes, you guys heard correctly, or if you guys are late, BTM is taking a break till the new year. Might sprinkle in some more of these solo sessions just to keep us going. Um, but yeah, we will be back with the fierceness after the new year. It was just a lot. Our crew is very much centered on real life comes first, and just with holidays and traveling and everything, we just decided to take the little break. Um, but I will still be streaming. Um, and I just want to thank you guys for being with me today. Thank Knox for taking me on this fun run. It's been a great birthday. I just had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, from Rory helping me out with Timeline earlier to checking out the new game, or new to me, The Inner World, which I highly recommend everybody to check out. And if you guys have any more point and click games you recommend, hit me up on Discord or whisper on Twitch because I'm pretty limited. No City of Heroes, no Final Fantasy right now. So I will take recommendations for games. And so with that, I know the big 3-9. I keep joking. I finally hit middle age.
Ancient. You're ancient.
Oh no. As much as my health will depress me sometimes, I realize now that my fate is to more just live with the bullshit health problems I have for a very long time. That's just my fate. Something out there is going to want me to live that long just to suffer through all this bullshit. Okay, well, we'll let Nox go. I'll let you guys go. Thank you again for today. It's been fantastic. And I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. See you guys later.